morning, everybody. I assume you can hear me. I'm really happy being here. Let me stress that. And I had no issues with the cloud, so that worked out quite well. When I was told to talk a bit about sustainability and green management within Nokia and understood that in principle I would have 12 minutes, I thought this is mission impossible. So I can either, would present some 50, 60 slides with a lot of information, or I can try to give some examples and really try to focus on some key messages. And the good news are I'm doing the second thing. So what I try to do today is to shortly talk about the main principles of our strategy, of what we are doing in our management approach when it comes to sustainability. And in the second phase, I would like to focus on two examples about what we are doing. However, a couple of rough information and some facts. We have in the industry over 4 billion people using mobile devices, and we have actually roughly 1.5 billion people who are using our products. When it comes to sustainability, these numbers are very important. If you're doing something in one country with only one product, we all know that the effect and the leverage is quite limited. If you're talking about these huge quantities, you can do quite a lot, and I have 2-3 examples later where we can see, that makes really the difference. That's the reason why I'm talking a bit about numbers in the first phase. In principle, and when I heard as a first remark to understand a bit what Nokia is doing to become green, I would say that we have slightly a bit of different view. We strongly believe that becoming green is not kind of a trend, but it's part of our core strategy. So it is not only a kind of, spontaneous reflection fitting to a certain development, but we believe that all our operation, the design, the manufacturing, the sales, and of course the recycling need to reflect the thinking of sustainability. So in short, it is embedded in everything what we are doing. This is part of our core strategy. Maybe some reflections about what environmental leadership is meaning. Nokia is, according to some surveys, awarded as the most sustainable technology company, mainly because we are not focusing only on 1 to 2 products, but we are trying to have the sustainability, take that into account from the very first moment, from the very first beginning, and not focusing only on one product. Of course, it is about energy efficiency, it is about selecting the right material, we will see that in a moment, but it relates as well to the way of working. So it starts with the travel planning and it goes to, on organizing and setting up a conference. We are often giving not only to our people, but to the customers the opportunity for having alternative meetings. Concrete example, we have worldwide some 215 video conference systems in place, and we encourage not only our people, but as well customers to use these systems more. The effect, of course, on the environment is quite important, as you all know. When it comes to the production, we have, of course, the opportunities in our production facilities around the world to focus on the classical energy, so to say, or to push in the discussion with the governments and with the local supply companies for replacing the classic energy, as I'm saying, with more renewable energy. And the percentage actually is roughly 25% of the energy we are using with renewable energy. One aspect, finally, when it comes to these main principles in environmental leadership, has to do with the way of working. So and this is maybe not too visible in countries like in Germany or in Europe, of course, if you are bringing learning solutions to people in less developed countries with some mobile communication, you have a dramatic impact and a change in the society even. If people do not need to travel some 200 kilometers to go to university or to school, but they have a small handheld, a device in the hand to follow up certain lessons, you can all imagine that the impact in Africa or in some other parts in Asia is quite important. Key principles, let me shortly go through and maybe make 1-2 examples for it. When we are saying applying the highest standards, that means precisely that we are even trying to exceed the standards. Concrete examples is the REACH directive from the from the European bodies, where the levels and the percentage we reached already in 2006, and we have not waited until the directive came into play later. Environmental thinking is not only benefiting the society, but it is clearly for us a source of innovation. Maybe a concrete example is when you look at the packaging. It makes a big difference if you have such a big sales box, or if you start thinking about to make the sales box smaller and smaller. If you would only look on the German market, maybe the impact would not be dramatic, or when we talk about one country. But if we are doing it worldwide, and we did it, we saw that the impact is very important. Think about the user guides. Manuals need to be thick like that in some countries, and some regulation bodies and governments are saying, yes, you need to inform the consumer with paper. We all know that in the future, when the digital natives coming more and more into play, nobody is looking at paper. They want to download it in the internet. And there we need the help of the politicians to make that possible. In some areas, it's still not allowed. You need to provide such a book. And you know how expensive it is not only to fabricate, but you can save a lot of energy, and it would be very nice for the trees if you can just proceed without a user guide and allow to download the user guide in the internet. The life cycle thinking across portfolio. I'm very often approached and asked, why has Nokia not only one green product? And the answer is, we're trying to avoid to have one green product instead of having all products in a sustainable and green way produced and brought to the market. So it is not important to have really one thing, but all our processes need to be aligned with this sustainable thinking. So that's the target, and I think we are quite on a good way. Green services for sustainable lifestyle. This is one example, was already the learning solutions. Another one can be seen in the alternative thinking when it comes to making payment. So if you have, of course, a payment method in your pocket, and you do not need to have the hassle and go to banks that have, in general terms, an important impact on the nature. I think I need to speed a bit up. Creating greener products. I think you all are quite familiar with the ideas about the energy consumption. We are a bit proud to say that already since 2006 we have no PVC in the products, we have no brominated substances in the products, and we are trying to achieve, when you see the use of the recyclable materials, actually we have a percentage of roughly 80%. We are trying to go for the 100%, but we all know it will not be easy, but we will definitely try to achieve the 100% when it comes to the recyclable materials. One word maybe to the energy, to numbers about that. Multiple devices, one less material, leading to opportunities and energy savings. I think these 95% are quite impressive. This is an industry approach, of course, and the consumption of the charger is going down with each new charger. The second example I had in mind is about, and the last example is about recycling. There as well, this has a bit of a political and even a society dimension. We made surveys and we found out that some 50% only know about the actual possibilities when it comes to recycling. And on the right side, you see one example, one approach, what we tried to make people aware that they can give back our products and make a bit of an incentive to it. We have an interest that more people would give the products back in order to give it back to the recycling circle, but actually the numbers are quite low, depending, of course, on what country you're talking. We know, for example, in Germany that a lot of people are stocking these products at home and they're not giving it back. Maybe they think they need it at a later stage or so. So this can be observed. The effect is, of course, quite important as well. This is one short slide about the recognition, the awards. I have to say we were a bit proud of what Greenpeace was saying when it comes to seeing Nokia as a green company, that we are there on the right side, and that the Dow Jones Sustainability Index ranked us as the most innovative technology company, having in particular in mind that we are not focusing on one product, but that we are focusing on all operation. So, I regret a bit that I am in Berlin, I have to say, for one reason, because I saw on my printout from my travel agency that the flight to Berlin actually consumed 142 kilo of coal CO2, so this is quite an important emission. However, it was a pleasure presenting our ideas, and I'm looking very much forward for some discussions. Thanks a lot.